You feel like you have to earn your love with actions or words and deeds. I'm sorry, but you're not in a great relationship, and you need to look for the door.
Vicky here at Download Festival with Nathaniel of Archers. How's it going?
It is going great. It's just such a surreal experience being here. First time ever performing in the UK, and it's this.
Yeah.
I'm on cloud nine. I can't even think of the words to say how excited it is to be here.
What were the crowd like out there?
They were great. I don't know what to. You never know what to expect when you play 8,000 miles from home for the first time, but it is such an encouraging thing to just, I put a lot into my music and my songs, and as I remember being a kid, the only thing I ever wanted was to have somebody sing them someday. And coming out here, being 8,000 miles from home, being able to point the mic at the crowd and have everybody take over for me, it's like, why would I even start singing again? You guys do it, So it just makes my heart so full. Yeah.
If you could describe your band in an object, a sound, and an emoji, which would you pick?
An object, probably a duck. I don't know. We like ducks. We were all big fans of ducks.
There are so many ducks at Download this year.
I've seen a few ducks. It's been great. Big fan. A sound would be the Wilhelm scream. I don't know if you're familiar with what that is. Ah! That's probably, we're Wilhelm Scream the band. Ah! Just always anxious, always mostly autistic. You never know. Just a bunch of idiots trying to make it work, What was the last one you said?
An emoji.
Probably the cringe face.
Oh yeah.
The cringe emoji. We're cringy dudes.
That's amazing. Well, hopefully you guys will be back in the UK at some point.
We've already got plans, so okay. I can't say anything about it yet.
Top secret, but they'll be back. Cool. I wanted to speak about one of your tracks, Better Off. I thought it was your breakup anthem. For me, that's what I got, but was it about that?
Yeah, I think that whole record was really kind of in that vein. I've been going through, I've been trying to put a pin and close the lid on a chapter, that was very toxic for a long time. And I remember being in the studio and working on the whole record, and just, it was a very friction-full experience. It was tough, but it was challenging, and it was beautiful in the same right. And I just remember using that and kind of internalizing that and turning it into exactly that, the way to kind of give myself closure on everything, to be like, you know what, because I've moved on from that in my life. I have a great love in my life. I have a great home life. I'm so thrilled to be where I am now. But I really, there was a lot of things that I had to get out of my head still. And I felt like that was my opportunity to be like, it's over now. I'm done writing about this. It's, but I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to give it everything I got. And now I can start writing positive things again, So.
Well, it sounds quite cathartic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Just being able to shout to the world that I'm better off alone. You tell me what's more cathartic. I can't think of anything. You're like, I don't need nobody else. I'm an independent woman, But that was what it was for me. Just to be able to be like, I am happy by myself. That was a thing that took me a long time to achieve. I've always found my identity in my music or in the people that I would love or date, and for the first time in my life, a couple years ago, I was able to really just look at my life and be like, this is good. Things are good, and I'm happy that I'm here. It took a long time to get there.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I really like that, because it is a powerful moment when you go through a breakup of any sort of relationship, really, and you have that moment of, I'm good.
Yeah.
It's such a powerful feeling, and I know some people wouldn't have experienced that yet, but even if, for those that might go for a breakup at some point, there is this light at the end of the tunnel that's just so amazing.
I mean, it's, for anyone out there that's dealing with that, I know how you're feeling. When you lose someone so close to you, even not in a final sense, but when someone who's a big part of your life takes that step away, there is something missing, and not to say you have to fill it with other things. You just need to figure out, how you fit into the empty space, because I think a lot of people don't make enough room for themselves in their own lives. We constantly cater to others. We're always trying to make people happy and not have confrontation, of course, because it's tough. It's tough to be at odds with people, especially if you're the one who's on the receiving end of pain. It's tough to move on. So to get to that point where after the pain, after all the hard moments, to just be able to sit back and be like, I'm good.
It's empowering.
Thank you.
That's exactly what it is. And your track, Never Enough. And I was wondering if that was also a relationship.
Also, very much. I actually, we were in the studio and I was writing all the other songs, and I remember my bassist Oscar is a fantastic writer, and I came to him and I was like, hey man, I've got my plate full. I can't get to this right now. I need you to take this one for me. And he just smashed it out of the park. He wrote that entire song front to back, and it's gorgeous. It's fucking awesome, and it has the same kind of a vibe, because he's also in a very happy position in his life too. But he's got this ability to listen so well to what I've got going on, that he was able to really like step into not only my shoes but just anyone's shoes who was able to like make that sort of statement and really just make it his own. And I think just being able to like, enough is never enough. It's kind of like always going back to that toxicness. It's so easy and it's so comfy. Even toxic relationships can feel safe, and it's really hard to get out of them when they're in that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Totally. And I even highlighted some of the lyrics from this track. Am I lovesick or sick of the love? You keep me going, because for you it's never enough. Yeah. So I completely understand what you're saying with that. Yeah.
He really nailed that. Yeah. I am so picky about. He hates me about this, but I turned down a lot of ideas, because I believe the song needs to be perfect, and this one he brought it to me, and honestly at first I was like, okay, man, okay, I kind of hear it, and then he got into the booth and he laid it down for me, and I'm like, oh, I feel it now, I understand it now, and I will always give him his flowers when it comes to this, because the man's nailed it.
So what should people do to protect their energy?
If you're in a place where you feel like you're being taken advantage of, like, it is never too late to just walk away. You are worth so much more than to be treated like shit. I'm sorry, every human in the world deserves to be treated with, at the bare minimum, respect. And, ideally with love, but bare minimum respect. And if you're in a relationship where you were not feeling respected, or your boundaries are not being respected, and you feel like you have to earn your love with actions or words and deeds, I'm sorry, but you're not in a great relationship, and you need to look for the door, because there's people out there that won't make you work for it. I didn't realize that, and then I met the person that I'm in love with now, my partner, and I didn't know that I didn't know what love was. Being with someone where it's like I don't have to work at it, I can just be me. Obviously there's work involved in every relationship. There's compromise that needs to happen. It's a back and forth. It's a teamwork. But there's no scorecard in a good relationship. It's all about support and just growing together. But all those toxic relationships that I've been through, that I talk about, that Oscar talks about, that's where they come from.
Well, at least it makes some good music.
Sure does, right? Yeah, absolutely does.
And do you guys find it quite easy to be vulnerable in songwriting then?
Yes and no. Sometimes it comes easily. I think a lot of it is just understanding that you don't have control. Like for instance, just being able to take a step back and be like, it doesn't matter how I feel about this, because once it's in other people's hands, it's theirs, and they get to decide how they feel about it. The best I can do is, try to say something that will mean something to someone else, and then hope it hits the right chord. Other than that, it's really just it's not in my control, and if you can't control it, then you shouldn't be worrying about it.
Well, what's next for Archers after Download?
After Download, we've got a show in Bristol tomorrow, and then we've got a sold-out show at the Black Heart in London on Wednesday. And then we fly home, and I get to see my cat and my girl, and I get to go home for like 3 days before I then fly back to LA to do some more writing. And then we're on tour for another month promoting our brand new EP, Temporary High, with our friends in Rivals, who are incredible, and then of course of Virtue, who have been some of my good friends for years, and this new band that's on the scene now called Dead Eyes, who absolutely crushes it. Can't wait for this. We're out for almost a whole month together, and then I actually get some time off. After that, in August, I get to go home and relax for a few weeks before I'm do it all over again in September, October.
And then we'll see you back in the UK at some point.
There are plans. I can't say when, but we've already just based on how well this has been going. I just talked with our booking agent over here, and he's like, guys, we got stuff for you. And we're like, awesome, and so we cannot wait to come back. So.
All right, well, thank you so much for speaking to us.
It was wonderful talking with you.
You too.